We have one from Colleen Gaia's Grace. She says, ask Santos to please speak about the eating of animals blocking the raising of the oils by participating in the murder of animals by ahimsa, reference for all life.
Yeah, look, probably I would recommend for people to go to the internet and search the great philosophers and what they said thousands of years ago about this practice of eating animals. Check out Porphyry, Plutarch, Ovid, Pythagoras, and that should do it. But all of them, every single one of them were vegetarian. There was not one who worked in the temples who ate the flesh of meat. The sacrifices that were given and etc., these were not literal sacrifices. Literal sacrifices did actually happen, but this was with the aberration of the fall of man and the loss of consciousness. But certainly Porphyry and Plutarch, if you look in the on the net, there's some great vegetarian articles from these two great philosophers. And in fact, Porphyry wrote a whole treatise on animal eating and how harmful it can be to the flesh. The animal chakras are the ones below the heart. And most of humanity are stuck there through eating animals. When you eat animals, you have more rage than vegetarians. And hence, it's strongly encouraged to eat pork and all of these animals which are more unhealthy for human consumption. And the armies of the world, are stuffed with pork, a lot of pork. The American soldiers that fight and kill for Halliburton and Blackwater and all these corporations, they get a lot of pork because this will give them, a condition of rabies, which is anger and hatred and animalistic viciousness. These young men and women have not reached the heart chakra. Remember in Revelation it speaks about the lamb and the lion who are worthy to open the seven seals. Well, that's because first of all, your journey begins at the heart chakra, the lion, and it ends at the lamb chakra, Aries, the crown chakra. And they are worthy because that's where you want to live, between the heart and the head. When the lion and the lamb lay down, there will be peace. This is why the Nile River begins at the delta in Heliopolis. Heliopolis is the heart, Leo. It was devoted to, the temples there were devoted to Horus, the hawk, and the lion god, Horus, and that's the heart chakra. And then they went all the way up to Karnak, the holiest of all the temples, which is the crown chakra devoted to Amun-Ra, the ram-headed god. And that's Egypt. Egypt did not deal with the lower chakras. They started at the delta and they ended up at Karnak, from the lion to the lamb. And so eating animals is anything to do with shedding blood. The soul is in the blood. Anima means soul. Animale means a bad soul. Male in Latin means bad. So animale, animated bad, is what animal means. Bad animation is these souls. They're not bad, but they're called bad because they're not human. Because they don't have the same consciousness. They haven't got the two-way consciousness that we have, the reflective consciousness where we can self-examine ourselves. We have this beautiful consciousness. That's divine, divided, two-way. Animals have an instinctive one way. They can't examine themselves and look themselves in the mirror and say, oh, goodness, look at me, I should improve this and I should improve that or whatever. They can't do that, you see. And so they are bad souls, animale. When you shed their blood and you eat their carcasses, you are a carcass cruncher. That's what the philosophers call them, carcass crunchers, the crunchers of death. And there's no life in dead carcass. There is the shedding of blood only. And those souls, Porphyry says, the animals that scream just because they are unintelligible does not mean they are not screaming to you, why do you have to eat me, which you cannot transmute when you have other better food, fruits of all kinds of aroma and flavour, aromatic vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains. Why do you have to do this to me? Why? I want to live. And they scream. Their screams are screams of their love for life.
Yes, it's a travesty. It's horrendous. Terrible. The state of the world when it comes to eating meat. It struck me when you were saying about the soldiers they're giving pork. And just today, that was actually in my mind, because today there were hunters around our land, which is quite big. We have 25 hectares of forest, land, but mainly is forest. And today there was a group of Portuguese hunting, shooting with a lot of dogs and shouting. And that vibration felt so heavy around our land. I'm very sensitive to things like that, and I had to go. We left the house because I felt too heavy, and shooting the animal, the pigs. Here in Portugal, they eat a lot of pork. It's the main meat that they eat, and I find that very challenging. Myself, that aspect of
Yep, it's all kinds of murder. Humans have been trained to think that we are animal eaters by the elites. They know that we're not. We're vegetarian. We don't have the intestines to cope with meat. They're too long. They're not short enough. These should be short intestines for meat-eating animals. We are not meat eaters. There is nothing that suggests that we should eat meat. This is what the elites have been doing to choke us with the vibration of death so that we do not come to life. We cannot know the true life. It's already here. Paradise and heaven is a condition on earth, just as hell is. You hear people saying heaven on earth, and you hear them saying hell on earth. That's because that's where it is. Earth is ether. It's an anagram for ether. Eartha, ether. Just like Kether is the opposite of Malkuth, foundation. Kether is ether. And so they are one and the same thing. Heaven is a condition, and we can find it by not murdering, not killing, not destroying anything. When we destroy vegetation, they also scream, but they scream with joy because they know that raw vegetables are able to be assimilated in the human body. Animals cannot, so it's waste. It's a total waste of life. Sure, it might be delicious to have condiments and oils and all sorts of flavors and herbs on a steak. I don't think so, but some people do. They lick their lips and they think, oh, a nice steak with some vegetables. And sure, but it is totally and utterly, the only benefit is the seeming benefit to the palate. And the palate is controlling all of human life. They are gluttonous. They love to eat flesh and death, and they love to stuff their faces and their stomachs. Their paunch is their god, and they do not know the higher chakras. We are not of this kind, friends. We will never partake in that kind of slaughter. Take away the S from slaughter and you get laughter. Simply why? Because when you stop slaughtering, then you will find the laughter.
I love that.
Well, very, very, yeah, I know, so brilliant. Also, when you eat meat, you're eating it's energy. Everything is energy and vibration, and you're eating the energy of fear that the animal felt before it was slaughtered. So if you're empathic and you're very sensitive to the subtle energies, and you're a meat eater and you're in a lot of fear, that might not be your real fear. It could be what you're eating. And that's,
it is. Mm-hmm. True. Spot on, sister.
Yeah.
All the fear and anxiety that the world has, even though they delight in eating and partaking in all of this sinful and criminal type of diet, is you watch them. I mean, you look at them. They're taking. They are the ones that take antacid pills and diabetes, insulin and arthritis this and diabetics that and piles here and who knows what, mental disease and everything. I don't have any of those things. I don't take any pills. I don't take anything. I've never, my body has never heard of diabetes, arthritis, or any of that stuff. I do not know it. I refuse to know it because I don't eat death. My body's a temple. I respect my body. I love my body. I put light into my body, only light and only good food. Right now, it's about midday, and all I've had is apple cider vinegar with water. 1 litre of apple cider vinegar with water. Apple cider vinegar is a must in your diet. It is absolutely a must. Without it, you will be suffering. Those are the sort of foods that give you... There's so many minerals in apple cider vinegar. There's so much goodness that comes from it. You know, you can...
Yes.
You can cleanse your body with it.
I add turmeric to I add turmeric to everything actually.
Yes, add turmeric. Notice turmeric begins with T-U-M, atum. Turmeric is one of the most divine foods. If you put that, especially for people who are lacking in energy, turmeric is hot. It, you know, like cayenne pepper also. It will give you charge, electrical charge, voltage. The body only requires voltage from the food. When you cook the food, the enzymes are dead. Even when you just lightly cook them, you're actually killing the enzymes, and that is the voltage that your body requires. So raw food is what you should intake, and keep those enzymes alive, and you'll feel the difference.